What's up, friends? Hello and welcome to Against the Fence. This is the place to be if you're obsessed and passionate about the UFC. I'm your host, JK, and tonight we're going to be recapping all the events from UFC 309 this weekend, and it was a solid card from top to bottom. I mean, okay. It wasn't the best of cards. All right, I'm getting a little bit too excited. But we're going to be talking about some really good topics tonight. We're going to be talking about the big one, Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall. Is it going to happen, ladies and gentlemen? And get your thoughts on maybe perhaps who wins, how that fight goes as well. That'd be good to see. We'll also talk about Charles Oliveira's title charge. How many has that been now? It's been like one, like two, maybe three title charges, four perhaps. But yeah, he's knocking on the door now and he wants that rematch against Islam Makhachev. So time will tell whether or not we get to see it or not. But maybe there could be other fights in the works as well that might benefit him first. Well, who knows? It'd be good to get your thoughts on that as well. We'll talk about what's next for Michael Chandler. Where does he go from here? Another setback for him. Didn't get to avenge that loss, unfortunately. But some big fights probably still left for him, without a doubt. And then we'll talk about Bo Nickal's ideal opponent in the middleweight rankings. Should the UFC decide to give him a ranked opponent next, of course, that being the big if. Welcome on in, guys, in the chats. Yes, good to see you as well. Let's go, Ash. George Murray saying, yes, boys, how we effing doing? Cold night. Mate, it is absolutely chapping. I might have to keep this a bit of a short night tonight. I mean, it's a big topic to talk about, but man's coming a little bit under the weather. Not gonna lie, throats are getting a little bit sore. Chatting your block off, chatting your ears off tonight is going to do some damage, unfortunately. But we're here anyway. We're going to plow through it as best as possible. Good to see you, my man, as always. And hopefully we get to see you this weekend. A nice early fight card for Jan versus Figueiredo, 11 a.m. Hopefully you'll be up watching it with the kids, with the fam, and tuning in to us on the side as well, George. George says, you say nicer things than my missus. What do you want, Mrs. Oh, so you guys are getting very warm and cozy in the chat bar, I see. Before we get into everything, UFC 309 related, top of the hour, we've had some news that Brendan Allen will be rematching Alexander Hernandez in the middleweight division. That's going to be happening next year. Brendan Allen gets to avenge a loss, which Anthony Hernandez beat him back in, I can't remember what year it was, but it was before both of them entered the UFC. It was in LFA. They went 5 rounds. Hernandez came out on top. But as for Hernandez, he gets to try and take Brendan Allen's ranking. So that's going to be a fun fight. Man, Hernandez has been on absolute tear at the moment. So fingers crossed. We could see him get a win, I think. George Murray says, throats sore. Been you? You been in the same room as Dana? Mate, oh, come on, George. Come on, George. Nah, man. Mate. Bro. I mean, who knows what side Dana's on? I can't wait to chalk that up a little bit later on. We're going to get from start to finish, talk about the kind of timeline of conversations that were going on from the pre-fight press conference to the post-fight press conference on all things Jones versus Aspinall and whether or not we think it's going to happen, when it's going to happen, and all that, really. But let's get into recapping some prelim results. Good to see Jim Miller winning again. He defeated Damon Jackson by a submission. Wasn't surprised by that outcome, if I'm honest. Jim Miller's an absolute stud. He's still got it in this division, and I think he's very difficult to stop. Not many people can stop him. I think. Didn't Bobby Green stop him last time out? No, decision. Green, yeah, took him to a decision, UFC 300. But man, like, not many people can stop Jim Miller. And the fact that he's still going at his age is really damn impressive. And I think he just came off of, like, his first ever injury in MMA as well. So look, when is he going to stop is the question, but he keeps on moving on. Marcin Tybura got a win as well. Jonathan Diniz, TKO stoppage there. And Oban Elliott, solid performance from him. He moves on. It's going to be exciting to see who the UFC decide to pair him up, because he's going to be a problem in the UFC's welterweight division. I'd say he's 1 or 2 fights away from getting a ranked guy next. So we'll see. But let's get into recapping then the main card of results. Of course, Mauricio Rufy kicking things off for us with a win against a very durable James Yontop, who, man, just kept coming forward the whole kind of night, right? It was kind of good to see Rufy really do work to the body and land his hooks up top. You know, he's putting his whole body behind his shots, and man, he's going to be exciting. And you know what? I'd actually really love to see him train with Conor McGregor one day. You know, I think that when Rufy becomes a lot bigger, and maybe perhaps we could see them in the same complex together, doing some light sparring. I think that'd be good for social media, giving each other different looks. Of course, McGregor's going to be tower him in terms of size, but who knows? Just wishful thinking down the line. And it was another win for the Fighting Nerds as well, who are coming a bit of a fan favorite team now. They've had a solid 2024. Carvalho has been running through people. Carlos Prates is doing the same, and he's gonna be one to watch for next year without a doubt. He's gonna have a big 2025, some huge fights for him. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see that team grow and really develop in 2025. But for Rufy then, what are we going to see next for him? Personally, they could rebook the Charlie Campbell fight. Charlie Campbell is an entertaining fighter as well, out of the Sarah Longo team. They could decide to do that. Or personally, I've got 2 really good options for him. I'd like to see him against either Jai Herbert, who last defeated Rolando Bedoya back in August. However, Jai could be holding out for a UFC fight night in London in March, perhaps. So maybe timeline could work out for Rufy. Or I would give Rufy Daniel Zaluba. He's had 5 fights in the UFC so far. He's coming off a split decision loss to Esteban Ribovics, and that was back in September at the Sphere. Zaluba, bit of a long-rangey striker, poses a bit more problems for Rufy, I would say. Smash a like on the video, guys. You guys chatting about Chinese again. Bo Nipple. Boo Nipple. Oh, someone wasn't happy with Bo's performance. Fighting Nerds are the new AKA. Wow. The guy who beat Jordan V versus Rufy. Oh, Jordan Vicenna. Oh, Guram Kutateladze. Oh, mate, that's a banger of a fight, to be fair, George. I think Guram might be booked. He's got a really good fight coming up. I think he might have. If I can spell Kutateladze. How do you spell it? Is it Kutateladze? Oh, do you know what? PKU? Where's my Tapology page at? Yeah, if anyone can find me his next booking. I'm sure he got booked, right? Is it Guram? Yeah, it is Guram. No, he doesn't have a fight book. Okay, excuse me. Excuse me. So, yeah, good shout, George. No, I like it. As for Yontop, then, he's now 0-3 in the UFC. He did step up on a few weeks' notice to take this fight, so I'm wondering if the UFC will give him benefit of the doubt. They could very well cut him. It is cutting season still, although I think we've probably held back on a few cuts, and we've not seen any today. But I would give him Francisco Prado next. He's 1-2 in the UFC. He's young and not fought since February. So, the young Argentinian is due to come back very soon. I'm definitely losing my voice. My throat is busted, man. Stay with us, guys. Stay with us. I need water, man. I need some water. George says, I know the person, just not the name. My year 3 English is not Up to par. Yeah, no, I couldn't spell that name. Save my life, to be fair, mate. I'm with you on that one. So yeah, for on top, I'll give him Prado. For Rufy, I would give him either rebooking Charlie Campbell or Jai Herbert or Daniel Zaluba, and I think they're all fun fights, to be fair. We love to make fun fights here on the Against the Fence channel. That's not to say that they're going to get made, of course. You've got a huge roster, and a lot of things depend on availability and whether or not they're injured or not. So, well, these are just some personal ones that I would make. Going into the rankings then for lightweight, there've been some weird changes, right? Gamrot's now above Dariush, even though Dariush beat him. Fiziev has dropped down a spot. By the looks of it, I don't know how old that movement is. Paddy's now gone up a spot, going above Jalen Turner. So I'm wondering if perhaps the UFC are in the kind of process of booking some fights at lightweight to make things a little bit better and giving some hand-me-ups, should I say, instead of hand-me-downs, because we're going up in the rankings here. Yeah, maybe we're going to get Grant Dawson versus Jalen Turner next. Dawson for some reason might be a new addition on Wikipedia here. But of course, I think Paddy versus Moicano should vary. That's what I reckon. Head on back then. Let's recap the second fight of the main card between Viviane Araujo and Corrine Silva. Araujo was pressured for most of the fight, fought off submission attempts really well, I felt, and it was her fast counters which won her the fight in her way. She was a lot quicker than Silva, and Silva kept kind of pressuring Araujo throughout, looking to try and find openings to secure takedowns, but didn't really, wasn't very successful at getting the takedown and keeping Araujo down, fortunately. And she kind of proves to be a difficult fighter to stop, as does Araujo. And she's lacking kind of big moments in some of her fights, especially in the past. You know, she's won fights I thought she's lost, and she's kind of smoked in some that I thought she would do well in. I mean, well, she's had a tough outing, to be fair. Talia Silva was close one. Silva was just too quick for her in that one. Tatiana Suarez is an absolute beast. Not surprised she got subbed in that one. Yan Janan is up there for a reason. She's a skillful striker. Erin Blanchfield, very good on the ground. Yeah, she's been up and down in this division, man. But I think the fight that I've got her should be interesting enough, I would say. Jessica Andrade, we talked about it in the watch-along. Two Brazilians battling it out. But can she be the first girl to KO Araujo? That's Jessica Andrade, that is. It's possible, man. Araujo has put some people away in both strawweight and flyweight. She's not done yet, I don't think. She's... Sorry, I was looking at the wrong record. I was looking at Andrade's record a second ago. Yeah, no, Andrade is coming off of a loss against Natalia Silva. I think Araujo lost to Natalia Silva as well, to be fair. So, yeah, I'd imagine she's going to continue at flyweight. She gets a bit older, and I think Araujo would make a lot of sense. As for Araujo's recent run, I think she fell short against Natalia Silva. She beat Jennifer Meyer, and I thought she was going to lose that fight. Fell short against Amanda Ribas and Alexa Grasso, two absolute studs. Both girls can grapple. So yeah, she's Natalia Silva's a bit of an all-rounder. Occasions a loss that, you know, the striker is very awkward to tag, really. Yeah, I think Andrade, an interesting fight in the pocket. It's one that Andrade will probably, or Araujo will probably have a speed advantage in. Yeah, that's what I make of that. In terms of prediction wise, couldn't really tell you. Very close. I could say Andrade TKO or decision. Maybe she is stylistically the person to stop Araujo, but Araujo can prove me wrong, man. As for Corrine Silva, probably needs to kind of work on heading off of her opponents are fine, and just finding those opportunities to level change a bit better, you know, so she can get the fight to the ground and really put her grappling to good show. As for Queen Silver, though, I mean, let's go head into the rankings for a bit. Tracy Cortez has moved up above Green Silver, which is very interesting because I would actually give Tracy Cortez Green Silver next. I would. I think both girls are tough, but it'll come down to who's got the most grit at the end of the day. You know, Cortez really desperately needs some finishes under her belt. I think she's only got 2 finishes in her whole career. And she's had at least double the number of fights. Yeah, 11 wins, 1 knockout, 1 submission. Rest of decisions. Of course, she's coming off a loss against Rose Namajunas. Stepped in at short notice, saved the day, but she got a headliner, and it's a fight that she can really grow from. And I think someone who's a very young fighter in Green Silver, I think it's a good matchup for both girls. Personally. Get yourselves in the chat or the comment section. Let's hear what you think about these matchups and whether or not you would make them or not. But moving on, we're going to fly these through tonight. My throat is killing me at the moment, but we're still here. We're still going. We're going through it, man. We're going to get through it. We fight over here. Bo Nickal against Paul Craig. Were you surprised by the outcome? I thought that. Well, I'm not surprised. I knew it was going to be a decision. I knew that Paul Craig was a bit of a big jump for him. I didn't think that. I couldn't see him stopping Craig on the feet, and I couldn't see him risking it on the ground with him, with how good that Craig is off of his back. This fight was the kind of ideal confidence booster for Bo Nickal, in my opinion, and in regards to his striking. He fought a tall, lanky, light heavyweight, really. Let's be honest. Paul Craig is better suited at light heavyweight. And landed the better shots in what looked like a bit of a sparring match, really. Wasn't the most entertaining on the feet. But I guess for Bo now, it's a question of, will the UFC give him a big jump next? Because in theory, he shouldn't, because he didn't finish Paul Craig. If he would have finished Paul Craig, then maybe we would be calling for a ranked opponent next. And one thing to add is that Dana, I think, came out and said that he felt that Bo isn't quite ready yet, and he's got a lot of work to do still. So, I mean, it depends what Hunter wants to do. Hunter's the one calling the shots at the end of the day, right? If they wanted to call the shots, the ideal matchup for him in the rankings, so he's go on in now. No changes at all. But if they wanted to give him a good ranked opponent, it could be Jack Hermansson, if I'm honest with you. But Jack Hermansson's a difficult fighter to tag. Having said that, we've seen him get taken down and submitted by Roman Dolidze. So maybe there is openings there that Bo can exploit, but I think Bo will need to be a bit quicker on the feet. He wants to close the distance and shoot in on Jack Hermansson, who's going to be quite strong, you know. But Ham's out wrestled him in a straight out wrestling match, so I don't know. But personally, in my opinion, I would give Bo somebody like Jun Young Park, who's coming off of a hard-fought battle against Brad Tavares that wasn't too long ago. The Iron Turtle is durable. He's not as quick on the feet. He can be a problem if he backs his opponents up against the cage and he tees off. He lost a close split decision against Andre Muniz. But prior to that, he had some solid wins against guys who can wrestle as well. Albert Doraya being one of them. Dennis Tuhulian. You know, he took Eric Anders to a split decision as well, who's very physical. Fell short against Gregory Rodriguez, who's, you know, a stud in the middleweight division. He's very talented, and he's got a bright future still to come as well. So, yeah, I think it's a tough fight. But Bo can be quicker than him and perhaps control him on the ground, I can see, you know? Just wear on him. George says, leave my wife alone, JK. Cortez is needs protecting. Oh, so I wonder what matchup you'd want to give Cortez next. Wales in the house. Salute, fella. Yes, brother Wales. Good to see you, man. Give us a bit of a DM at some point, Wales. Good to know what your thoughts are on the new changes with the New York Giants at the moment. But good to see you in the chats, brother. George Murray says, me, Wales, haven't spoke since the Zoom call. How's life? Oh, yeah. What about you two, Matt? Pretty cool. Wales says, Bo wanted nothing to do with Craig's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Bit disappointed, to be honest. Yeah, I know. And what's crazy is that people are really excited to see him fight Hamzat. And if I'm honest, I'm not excited to see that just yet. I'm really not. And former pro fighters have said, I think it might have been DC who said, that Bo's striking needs to develop a bit more. Because Hamzat's striking is a lot more advanced than Bo's. And of course, the wrestling game, straight up wrestling, is going to be really intriguing to see. But the fight starts standing on the feet. And if it stays on the feet, because both guys respect each other's wrestling, Hamzat, I could see, picks him apart. And it'd be weird to see, right? Thanks, Wales, for chiming in. I love that thought as well. George says, Bo versus Robocop, Apex main event. Oh, mate. Oh, I don't know, man. I don't know about that one. That's a horrible fight, I still think. I really do. If Robocop was the old guy, or is as old as he looks, then I'd probably say yeah. But I'm afraid he's not. Yeah, co-main event, I reckon would be better suited. Feed CLD to Bo. Ah, mate, I said CLD for something else. I can't remember the last Aftermath show. I had a really good fight for CLD. I can't remember who it was. So that's why I kind of left CLD out of that. CLD, man, it's a stud. Good to see. I'm going to recap this, actually. Who did I say? Was it Khalil? No, it wasn't. Wasn't Bedrosian. Who it was now? Maybe it was the time before. Yeah, I think it was. Oh well. This is what it is, brother. This is what it is. Smash that like button, folks. Good to see you as always. George says Bo is lamb. Hamzat is slaughter. Wow. Yeah, I can kind of agree with you there, mate. Kind of agree with you. But let's give him someone like a junior part. Let's not rush him too much. And fingers crossed, Bo will hit those kind of matchups when he's right, when he's good to go. We don't want a repeat of a Sage Northcutt. We put those times way behind us. As for Paul Craig, though, running out of time, I think, for him. I don't think this move to middleweight has really worked out for him. He got that one win, and that was it. Personally, I want to see him go back to light heavyweight. And if so, I want to see him fight either Dominic Reyes or Anthony Smith. Both of those fight next month at UFC 310. I don't care where they are in the rankings. I don't think it matters. Yeah. Winner or loser. I think they're both good matchups for him. Maybe the loser. Let's see if we can get Paul Craig back on a win column. Because how many losses is that in a row now? 3. He's only 1 win in his last 6. That was against Andre Muniz. TKO. It's not been great. Not been great. Yeah. Give him one of these old heads in the light heavyweight division who've kind of struggled as well. That's what I'd say. My opinion on it. Heading on back then to talk about the co-main event, which was Charles Oliveira picking up the win against Michael Chandler yet again. And he reminded us of just how dangerous he is and that he's capable of earning another title shot. He's not done yet. I thought perhaps he may have been after that Sarukian fight. I thought that perhaps he might lose a bit of confidence there and maybe his performances would start to slip. And it's kind of what I was alluded to during the breakdown show, really. But I was proved wrong. I was proved wrong. I really was. And that was his 20th fight bonus for the promotion. How crazy is that? He's setting records here and there. The guy is an absolute stud and he's a fan favorite for a reason. But will he fight for the belt next, or will he stay active and compete against someone like Max Holloway, which would be a rematch from when the two met quite some time ago in the featherweight division? Back when Charles Oliveira, before he had his child, and wasn't, would fade really easily in fights. That fight was back in 2015, some time ago, and I'm sure that Max would really love that fight as well. It's a fight that he would be interested in, but depends on his return, really. He's just suffered that knockout against Taporia. Maybe taking some time out would be a good idea for him. Jordan Mary says going back to old gloves, but don't have enough old ones. Who made the call to change, Jones or Dana? Wow, good topic of conversation. Probably was Dana, but maybe Jones complained about him. It sounded like Jones complained about him before. I reckon so. The Iron Backpack Slam. Is that the name for it now? I mean, it was wild that Chandler was doing that in the last few seconds of the third round, but I mean, he really looked uncomfortable dealing with Oliveira's pressure in there, I felt. And he had some success when he had more control of the octagon. He was landing powerful shots, but Oliveira would always readjust and use his kicks to kind of push Chandler back and regain center. And he had some decent moments, did Chandler, in this fight, especially in that third round, but just allowed Oliveira to kind of recover. I was saying in the expectations that Chandler this time out, if he gets Oliveira hurt, he needs to stay standing, not go for ground and pound, because Oliveira is very good at wrapping up limbs on the ground, staying safe and just recovering, taking those few moments, and then planning his attacks from there. I think Chandler should have just let him up straight away and then poured the pressure on. And he could have got him out there. He really could have gone in that third round, and what a comeback that would have been. And he would have, without a doubt, would have been next in line for the lightweight belt. But as for Oliveira then, what do you guys think? Max Holloway, or wait it out for the winner of Sarukian versus Islam? I want to see him fight Holloway. I really do. For Chandler then, do you guys think that he'll wait out for Conor McGregor again? I'm not sure. I mean, let's head into the rankings then. Back into the lightweight division. Chandler sitting at number 7. There's not really a lot of fights for him. I mean, Gamrot, I think, is a good one. Gamrot and Chandler are very similar in a lot of ways. Apart from Chandler's got more punching power. Gamrot's got better chain wrestling, I would say. And Gamrot's a lot quicker than Chandler. But I think it's an exciting fight that the UFC could very well make. It's either that or it's Beneil Dariush. But if you're Chandler, hey, look, Chandler's going to have a lot of self-belief. He's going to believe that he can still get back in there. But the Conor McGregor fight it's something that he probably will want to wait out for, I feel. Wales says they got to give Arman the title shot. Islam got Oliveira's number. Yeah, I agree with you on that. I'm really excited to see Sarukian versus Islam, and what a way it will be to kick off next year, because I feel like that fight is going to be made. I don't think it's official yet, and they were targeting January. So look, man, run that fight back, because it was so evenly contested. I felt in the first time out. Sarukian is probably stylistically the only man I feel in this division who can actually hang with Islam. And that's the reason why I'm so excited for it. George says Charles will be back up fighter at 311. Then fight winner in Abu Dhabi in October. Match made, done, sign the contract. Yes, George, love that. Another return for Oliveira in Abu Dhabi, really? Ooh. Surely if you're Oliveira, you want to bring that over to Brazil. You know, be like, come on, look, I went over to Abu Dhabi, fought for the belt then. Let's do it in Rio, you know? George says, think any man would feel uncomfortable with Charles on their back. True. For sure, for sure. He reckons Chandler versus Fiziev. I like the fight. I do. Who knows what Fiziev is doing at the moment? He's grown his hair out. He's like climbing rocks and getting photos next to waterfalls and all kinds of things. So, like, he looks like he's one with nature at the moment and doesn't look like he's in a rush to return to fighting anytime soon. So, but look, I really want to see Fiziev back. I like that option. I do. I like that option a lot. Well says Connor is done. Can't see him coming back. No, neither can I. Neither can I. Dana keeps pushing his return back even more so. And it's been going on for like 2 years now. It was going to be in December. It's going to be at the start of 2025. Now it's going to be later on in 2025. It's all because of legal reasons. Things keep popping up. And he needs to clean his act up. That's the reality here. He's a drug addict. He's a cokehead. Guy just wants to snort coke and sling. You know what I mean? And there was a video of him and his missus going at it on the sofa in their holiday home the other week. We got that sent to our group chat before it even went online. I'm sure of it. So that was mad sights. There you are. Ragnar Fiziev says George Murray. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's basically my 2 cents on Chandler and Oliveira. Do the Holloway fight. BMF. See what happens. Give Charles the opportunity to redeem himself against Holloway. Because Holloway's not really got much else, really. And we want to see Holloway back at lightweight. That's a fight to make for him as well. I really want to see it. Really want to see it. All right, cool. Heading on back over then to the final fight. The main event. John Jones, Stipe Miocic. Jones gets it done against a very old Stipe. 3rd round. Spinning back kick. What a technique. And you know what? Stipe looked physically bigger, but seemed much slower than we've seen him before. He wasn't the Stipe from old. That time off really didn't do him very well. His power was there, but Jones showed decent head movement, I felt, to avoid the bigger strikes thrown. Do you think that Stipe started to show his age in there, really? And also, did he return just for the payday for this fight? Or do you think there was a strong enough desire to win? The reason why I think it was just for the payday is just because just how he reacted in the post-fight interview with Joe Rogan. When he was like, when Joe Rogan asked him, you know, is that it for you now? And he was like, yeah, thank God, man. Like, he could not wait to get this weight off of his shoulders of returning and making that final walk. And against the UFC's biggest star, who Dana White calls the GOAT. So he's going to get his money's worth out of this event and go back to firefighting. Mate, we were so tempted to do it. Someone else did it. I don't think it took off though. But no, I didn't want to be that guy. So yeah, that's kind of where my head at with Miocic, I'm afraid. I mean, look, props to him. I hope he has a happy retirement. He had a great run. He's still going to go down as one of the best heavyweights to ever do it in the UFC. I mean, there's a long list of studs, or in MMA of all time in general, really. He's up there with your Cain Velasquez's and Fedor Emelianenko's and Fabricio Verdum's and Brock Lesnar's, etc. You know, yeah, good to see Stipe bow out, but wasn't a win, unfortunately. We thought Jones was going to stop Stipe via TKO earlier, if I'm honest. Those ground strikes were lethal he was landing. But Miocic was just kind of able to defend and survive really well, I felt. And the spinning back kick finish that Jones landed on Stipe was something that he'd been working on a lot as well, which he revealed in the post-fight press conference. You know, he said that he'd been practicing this spinning back kick with a taekwondo coach for the last, a few months, 3 times a week. And he also referenced Bruce Lee in the press conference as well when talking about it. You know, the famous quote of don't fear the guy who knows 10,000 kicks, but fear the guy who knows one kick and has practiced it 10,000 times. And that's a powerful quote there. And look, man, Jones in his 37 years old still is a force in the UFC roster and still continues to develop as a martial artist. And that is credit to this championship mindset that he has. And very few people in MMA in general now, I think, have this same mindset. There's too many distractions. People are so distracted by money and various other avenues to earn income, etc., etc. They're not just focusing on the craft. And that's what I love about Jon Jones. And he has that same mindset that GSP had. And GSP will always be my number one fighter, watching as a young teenager go through and have this kind of level of championship mindset. And I've always carried it in everything that I do, you know? And look, it's a rare breed. We don't see it as much now. It was just a really shame to see. That's Jon Jones as a fighter, of course. You know, opinions on Jon Jones as a person. Look, I know we shouldn't really continue to judge him for some of the things that he's done outside the octagon. He keeps saying he's not a perfect human being, but he's also, a man of God and tries to continue to better himself. And he's on the right path at the moment, it looks like. Wales says Jones gotta fight Tom next. Jones would be the favorite going into that fight. Tom hasn't been tested on the ground whatsoever. Now 12-6 is legal. Could be a long day for Tom. So that's Wales' opinion, which is very different, I think, to most opinions. But that's a perfect time to segue into this whole matchup. In fact, we're going to go into the heavyweight rankings real quick, just to talk about some movements. Tabora has moved up into number 8 there. Rosenstruck's move up to as well. I think it's just taking Stipe out of the rankings completely is what that is. And Shamil Gaziev falls in at the bottom. So yeah, let's segue in and talk about them. Jones versus Tom Aspinall. Will it happen? Now, first of all, Dana said he isn't interested in making Jones versus Pereira unless Jones defeats Aspinall. Which is wild because we've all slated Dana in the past about Jon Jones being his favourite fighter and the GOAT, and you would expect him to get some kind of level of favoritism. But the fact he's putting Aspinall in there surrounds a lot of questions behind all that. And Jones said the UFC would have to pay him a lot of money to fight Tom Aspinall, since Aspinall isn't a legacy fight for him. And he'd said he'd do whatever Dana wanted to do, providing they could negotiate, which is crazy, right? He's left the door open here. Maybe perhaps if they can't strike a deal, then Jones will just retire anyway. And he said that in the post-fight press conference. So he clearly is interested in this fight to some degree. Now, Dana said that Jones versus Aspinall would be the biggest heavyweight fight in the organization's history. When you look at the big heavyweight fights that have been in the past, we're talking about the DC versus Stipe's, the bigger than Lesnar versus Overeem, which I think was probably one of the biggest, if not the biggest fight in the heavyweight division that we've seen. But at the same time, when you look at, and we've gone back and talked about this before, when you side by side Aspinall and Pereira, is Pereira not clearly the bigger star than Tom Aspinall? So why isn't Dana pushing for Jones versus Pereira? Now, Dana's, of course, going back to talking about Dana having favoritism towards Jones. Would you not prefer doing the big money fight now, right? Now, is it because he's made promises to Aspinall and Ankalaev for title shots in their respective divisions? Because that's where my head is at the moment with this, you know? And they don't really want to upset two of the biggest pieces of talent in those divisions? Or do they see an opportunity to make Aspinall a huge star should he defeat the GOAT? Jones is 37 and his best years are behind him. Aside from the injury he suffered against Curtis Blades, Tom Aspinall has finished every opponent he's come across since signing for the UFC back in 2020. At this stage, we could say there's a 70% chance of this fight happening. Could they bring the fight to the UK and host it in a stadium, perhaps? Possibly. But Jones will be the A side in the negotiations here, without a doubt. It'll most likely happen in Vegas, I think. So just some things to think about here. I think we are moving away from Jones versus Pereira. As much as I would love to see that fight, it is a legacy fight. John is right and all that, and I can kind of side with him in a way. Right? It's a perfect fight for you to fight somebody who is a champion at the moment, who didn't come through your generation, is the current generation, 2-division champ, multiple time kickboxing champ, combat sports. One of combat sports' finest, really. You beat him, you can sail off into the sunset. You can ride off. That's it. You're done. You don't need to fight a Tom Aspinall. This hungry, difficult puzzle to solve. Because that's one thing Tom Aspinall mentioned in the Ariel Helwani show last night, is that thing is, he reckons that there is part of John that really wants this fight because it's a difficult puzzle for him. There's not been a lot of there's not a lot of tape on Tom Aspinall to study. And we all know John Jones likes to study the tape on his opponents. I mean, I know Wales says here that he reckons John will be the favourite. I'm not sure, you know. I'm not sure. I think it could be the perfect fight for Aspinall to take advantage of here. I know we've not seen Aspinall off his back. That is the big thing here. I would love to see what happens with that. I would love to see what happens with that. But I think Aspinall beats Jones, mate. He's a huge star. Then we'll get our stadium in the UK. That's what I feel. To finish nearly everyone you've come up against in the UFC and finish the GOAT. Yes, okay, it's an older John Jones, but to have that on your resume would be special. But I don't think Jones is going to do it. I don't think Jones is going to do it. When the UFC had their meeting with Tom Aspinall, they met with Tom Aspinall at 3 a.m. US time. And Aspinall felt really confident coming out of that meeting, guys, that they could make a fight happen. So maybe perhaps John Jones has said something to them off air, without the cameras showing. Because part of me, during the build-up to this past weekend, I felt that Jones was trying to play with the media and the fans a little bit. You know? Giving them something to talk about. Giving them something to bite on a little bit here with this fight. And really build some level of interest. But at the same time, I do think it's a level of interest where it would be motivated by money for John. You know? Wales says they could do it in the Las Vegas Raiders Stadium. 100%, mate. I think that's one you got to do. If it is going to be the biggest heavyweight fight in the organization's history, Dana's got to do it in a stadium. I don't care. Heavyweight fights are always going to be huge. Okay? And that is a big one. Dana said it best. Jones got to remember someone, Rua, gave him the chance as a young and up-and-comer. He got to do the same. That's true. That is very true. You know? I think maybe that is a way of persuading him. I think you're right there. I mean, you know, he was far younger than Tom Aspinall. Walked straight in there. And he got the opportunity just because Rashad Evans fell out due to injury. Otherwise, he was going to take the same route that Aspinall had. Really? Right? He got the opportunity by luck. And he was 23 at the time. Like, who knows, man? Crazy, right? Brother B's in the house. Yes, Brother B. This fight has to happen for the sake of the integrity of this sport. Absolutely. Boxing is impossible to defend with last week's circus. True. Agree with you on that one, brother. MMA is on the hook for this. Jones versus Aspinall is not optional if you don't want a mass exodus of MMA parasites. Yeah. True, man. True, man. Love your thoughts, Brother B. Love your thoughts on this. Yeah, we gotta see it, man. We've got to see it, I think. And yeah, Dana's right. If he gets past Aspinall, then he can have that Pereira fight. Builds that fight even more, right? You beat Aspinall, finish Aspinall, TKO on the ground or submit him, mate. I mean, in a way, so purist. Oh, he's meant to say purist. Sorry. I'm not very well at the moment. I'm struggling. What was I saying? Yeah, but at the same time, if Jones smokes Aspinall, we all the fans want to see the Pereira fight. You know? At the moment, it's fair to say that Jones is favourite in that fight, right? There's always going to be like that what if. But if he's able to out-grapple someone as big and fast as Tom and solve that puzzle, then he can solve the Pereira puzzle without a doubt. You know? I do think that actually dampens that fight in a way. I do. It's okay. Same point you're making. Yeah, cheers, Brother B. Cheers, Brother B, man. We got to catch up sometime. Good to see you. Good to see you as always. But yeah, that's just my thoughts on this fight heading off this past weekend. Got to wrap things up now though, as I've got to get some rest. Man's getting ill over here. Got to take some tablets and all that. Damn cold over here in the UK. Damn cold. Waking up cold is not fun. So thanks for sticking by. Thanks for tuning in. As always, make sure you got the notifications bell rung on our channel. Smash a like on the video if you've not done so already as well. And make sure you tune in this weekend, of course. Now, for you guys in the US, yes, it's stupid o'clock in the morning. And you guys have got to suffer, if you're a true fan, just like us guys in the UK for fight nights. Yes, it'd be Jan versus Figueiredo. It's a very good card, actually. Some good fights on it. And we're going to get up early, have breakfast, grab a coffee, watch the fights, and then have the rest of the day to ourselves. And it's going to be really good here in the UK. And for you guys in the US, maybe you want to take a nap afterwards. But make sure you tune in with us, because don't watch alone. Watch along, as we like to say. Yes, Brother B. Yes, I'm just saying, take the fight, win or lose. Say yes, for sure, man. Absolutely, Brother B. Thank you, sir. Thank you as always. But yeah, we'll catch up soon, guys. Take it easy. We'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.